For best friends since way back when. Steel town roots in a story to spin. Pittsburgh streets in our bones. The four best parts, the four best hearts. This month we live it loud. This month we break the clouds.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. And welcome to this episode 9 of our Four Best podcast. And we want to start off by wishing everybody a very happy 4th of July, which is also America's 250th birthday. So hopefully everybody's able to get out there and really celebrate. And glad that you chose to at least take a portion of your celebration with us here on this podcast. So we're excited for this next episode. For those of you who are not familiar, this is a podcast that talks all about the best things that are going on in our lives, and we are four best friends, hence the Four Best Podcast. And I am one of your hosts, Isaac Scott, and I am also joined by
Nate Kravitz.
Mac Kravitz.
Hey, this is Serge.
This is our next episode of the Four Best Podcast. And if you're wondering more about how we created this podcast and you're just tuning in for the first time, highly encourage you to go back and tune into episode 1, where we talk all about how we came up with this idea and what the intent is. But for now, we are going to go head first into this next episode, and I'm excited to kick this episode off with Mac Kravitz.
Hey guys, I know we're probably disappointed that Freedom 250 rally got canceled, or all the performing artists got let go, so we're not going to be up on stage. I knew we're becoming hot stuff, but hopefully our listeners will get to enjoy us anyway. My best for this past month was getting to go to Kennywood. So Eli's school had their Kennywood day, and we gotta go. And first thing we did when we got on the Jackrabbit, did that, and something about riding that just like brought me so much joy. You know, it's just kind of thrilling in a way that like you only get from a roller coaster from being at an amusement park. Our weather was perfect that day. It was like 70 degrees, all sun. So it was a really fun day at Kennywood. The Raging Rapids were reopened finally after what seemed to be years. One of the things there is that either that day the waterfall wasn't working or they stopped having a waterfall. So the whole time we were waiting, you know, like getting onto it, it's like, oh no, who's going to get on the waterfall? It's going to get soaked. The kids have never been on this ride before. We're talking up and then no waterfall. So as a mix of disappointment and relief, but to make up for it, we did the Pittsburgh plunge and got soaked. Just absolutely drenched. It was rough. Anyway, just getting to do that, getting to enjoy amusement park, getting to enjoy family time. They had their bites and pints sort of festival celebration thing, so you can get like little samples of food from different countries. So we did that. It was just a really awesome day, awesome time. I know you guys are some pretty big amusement park fans too, or have been.
Yeah, Kennywood. I mean, we all got to go together. Actually, was that 3 or 4 years ago when I brought my nephew Gabe out to watch a Steelers game, and you guys, for part of working
Highmark Day, I think. It was Highmark Day.
It was Highmark Day. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you guys were there as part of the corporate crew.
Yeah, and so it wasn't very busy, and it was so cool because I hadn't gone since I don't think even in high school. I think middle school was the last time I had gone, and then we got to go, and there was hardly any lines. And I seem to remember Eli really liking the Jackrabbit, Mac. And for those listeners who don't know, the Jackrabbit is a roller coaster. Kennywood's an awesome place that's been around for probably about 100 years, something like that. And they have a lot of old, just wooden roller coasters, including the Jackrabbit and Thunderbolt and Racer. And so they're still fun, even though they're not as extreme as what you get at Six Flags or Cedar Point or some of those other places. And there's just this really great homey feel to Kennywood, right? It feels local. It's so comfortable there. It really has a great Pittsburgh feel to it. And I remember us spending late nights there. Whenever we'd go, we'd always be there until closing, as long as we could possibly get out of our time there. So great memories. What an awesome place. Glad that you guys got to go and have fun.
Nate, you mentioning the Racer remind me when we went. This has never happened before, but Eli and I were on one cart. Eileen was on the other car. So the racer has two different sort of trains, so I don't know how we call it the roller coaster sets of cars, and they go at the same time and they essentially race each other from the start pace to the finish.
They're kind
Yeah.
of side by
there's
side, so that they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
equal distant. Yeah.
Yeah, the tracks that the car that we were in ended up over a full train length behind the other one. It's never been that far apart in my entire time, but
Wow.
we were so far behind.
Yeah, I want
It
to say
was
I don't remember it
nuts.
ever being maybe more than half. And that seemed like a big deal, but it was usually pretty close. Maybe like the half the length of the
Yeah.
coaster.
And this was like 2 legs back. It wasn't a race.
You guys lost bad.
Yeah, we'd basically lost off the first turn. So I blame the two front cars only having one person, you know.
Yeah. Well, Mac, I mean, Kennywood, I mean, when you were just started talking about it, I think the nostalgia of just rushing back, I think all four of us have definitely been to Kennywood, not just with each other, but even growing up, going to Pittsburgh public schools, and even I know growing up in Pittsburgh, my dad's company also used to do. I think it was like Labor Day events there. So I remember even going there as a kid, and just an amazing amusement park. And I think you nailed it, Nate, that it's you never hear about it. And so for anybody who lives outside of Pittsburgh may or may not have ever heard of it, but I think it's still probably one of the better amusement parks I've been to. It's really well put together, well constructed. It actually has a really long history. I was just pulling it up and just trying to see how far back it goes. And it actually goes back to like the turn of the century, like the 1900s. It was like back in like 1898. And even some of those rides that you were mentioning, Mac and Nate, is that I think it was the like Jackrabbit, Thunderbolt, and the Racer are all back from like the 1920s. And then like the Old Mill was like one of the first ones, opened up in like 1901. So some significant history. And what's amazing is that a lot of those rides are still functioning today. And I think out of all the rides there, the Jackrabbit's still probably my favorite. I love the Jackrabbit, love the double dip, as well as the Thunderbolt. Is just some awesome coasters, and just a ton of fun.
Some other history, just thinking about that as you're mentioning that, was that when Mac and I first moved out there in the early 90s, the Steel Phantom was created. And at the time, I think it was the tallest and fastest roller coaster, at least in the United States, if not the world, for a while. And
it had the double loop, right?
It had
like a pretzel?
3 loops.
Three loops,
think,
yeah.
Which were crazy intense, and that's the reason that they've later changed it so that it took out those loops. Yeah, everyone's head would bounce around.
I remember giving you like a mini
painful.
concussion. It was so hard on your head. You didn't want to ride it more than once.
You didn't care when you were that young and riding it?
No, I cared. I did not feel great about it. I actually preferred the wooden roller coasters as a result, because that one beats you up back and forth.
Yeah, it's true.
With like
you had
no
to press
padding.
yourself to the back.
Yeah. You had to. Yes, I remember that. Like you had to push really hard, otherwise you'd be forced on the sides, like a ping pong. That's cool. Mac, do you find that your kids gravitate towards like kind of the wooden roller coasters like you? Like, do they those are the ones I want to go on?
So Ella can only do the Jackrabbit right now. Eli always wants to do the Exterminator, but the line there is way too long. So if we don't go like first thing, then we don't go on it. He really enjoyed doing the Racer. He wanted to do Phantom's Revenge, but we were like, you're still kind of small for it. He's tall enough, but he weighs like nothing. So like, let's try to bulk you up a little bit, and maybe we can go next time around, because we'll have Kennywood Day in September. But they both really love the one coasters. They're just fun. They're like all the nostalgia you could hope for. I'm sure as they get bigger, they'll want to do the bigger ones. They like being there. They love the thrill of it all, right? And I think that's what we all grew up with, is that thrilling experience of being on the roller coaster, being on the rides. Sometime sooner or later, the kids will do more spinny stuff, and I'm gonna talk to my doctor about how I can avoid getting the motion sickness. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Just as we talk about, I just keep thinking about late nights with friends that we would get dropped off, and we would spend all day there creating awesome memories with friends. It was a safe place to be. Just how many cool things we've done there. And then Mac, you and I once did. They have like the big kind of bungee jump swing thing.
I remember
we paid extra.
that. Yeah.
And so I don't know if you guys even do this. That once we went there with my mom, and so my wife has been there also, because she was there. Heidi was there for that, and wasn't she there for that? I think she was.
I don't remember. I think she's been there, so she
Yeah.
may.
And so that would have been the time, but we did that like thrill ride thing and going like way up there, going like, well, like once we're up, like you got to go down. It was really high up.
Yeah.
It was neat.
That's no longer in operation, but they still have the like the towers for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. What's funny is you talk about like the late nights of it, and we've not stayed. This was the latest we've ever stayed there, and I think we left at like 6. So we just don't stay there very late
Right.
because the kids are still
Yeah.
pretty young.
It used to be open really late, right, Nate? Because
I want to say that
that's
we
what
were
you were
leaving
talking.
close to midnight.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
In
Yeah.
retrospect, I feel bad for our parents. It's appreciative that they would come and pick us up
that's right. It's a good call out.
at the end of
Yeah,
the
now they
day.
close at 9. Nate, do you remember that one time? Like it was way late at night, and we were in Kittyland, and like we went up on the like the little mini Ferris wheel, and they're just like, "We're gonna leave you up there so you can watch the fireworks and stuff." From
Oh, I don't remember.
you
Oh, that
don't
sounds
remember
cool.
that?
I don't
That's like
remember.
that was awesome. The person is just like, no one else is here. We'll just let you hang out at the top and like watch this from up there.
That's cool.
It was just this great memory for me.
It's a magical place. It really is. Kind of like I mean, as you said, I'm into amusement parks. My family's really big into Disneyland and has historically gone, double digit amount of times in the last probably 8 years or 10 years and even more if you look past that. And really wherever you go, you can create good memories. And it doesn't have to be a huge Disneyland experience. Kennywood, it's a smaller place. It's just lots of really good memories and good experiences. And for viewers who aren't in the Pittsburgh area, if you ever see the movie Adventureland, that was filmed in Kennywood. So you can go out and watch that.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me share. I'm gonna kick things over to Sergey.
All right. Thanks, Mac. So for my good thing for this month, actually kind of resulted from Kelsey and Tesla going out for the day. And I kind of didn't expect, I don't think I like maybe listened in completely and understood how long their travels were going to be, but they went to the city for cat yoga, which I was just like, oh yeah, that's going to be like an hour. And I don't think I realized that it was going to be in the city. I thought it was like maybe somewhere in Wexford. And so their kind of journey was them going out and me texting and saying, hey, what are y'all up to? Like, you guys coming back soon? And she's like, we're not coming back for a while. So I turned to Felix and I said, hey, what do you want to go out there and do? And he suggested Fall Run. So while we're talking about local area places that are awesome, have you guys ever been to Fall Run Park?
No, but my
No?
wife just mentioned it to me. She was like, I just heard about this place called Fall Run, so we should check that out.
Yeah, Fall Run Park is really neat. It is what I would say is a hidden treasure in Pittsburgh. It's in the Shaler community. From me, it's about 16, 17 minutes away. And you head down there, you find a little park place area, and there are like trails you could take and bridges. But the best part is there's a creek, okay? And this creek, you can bring some old sneakers, some water shoes, and essentially you're like stepping off the bank and you're just walking around this creek. And it feels so good because it's covered by the trees. So when Felix and I went out there, like it was nice and shady. We've got the cool air flowing. The air temperature drops when your feet hit the cold, and you're kind of making your way through this ankle deep water with some little log jams and miniature rapids. And you wouldn't think much of it, but as you kind of go through and the ravine narrows, eventually you end up at a waterfall. And I didn't expect to see a waterfall in Pittsburgh, one that you can actually get into and climb up and then kind of make your way down. So there's like this almost, I guess, slide that people have naturally gravitated towards. Kind of bumpy, mostly uncomfortable. And Felix did the entire creek all the way to the waterfall without shoes, which kind of blew my mind. It wasn't something I expected. And so him and I just had a really great, just him and I time. Very often, I feel like when you have a second kid, like things just change rapidly and you're getting less of that. But as a result, we just had an entire blast. And I'll have to send you guys some photos because I'm always shocked whenever I look at it because it's like not something that many people talk about in the area. So that's kind of my good thing for the kicking off of summer is just Felix being like, hey, you want to go to Fall Run? And I'm like, really? Okay, let's do it.
Serge, I think those are awesome memories, and that's something that I have been reflecting on quite a bit because obviously my kids are not little anymore. One's an adult and one is going to be a junior in high school. But I often think about those times of just being able to go out, either with one of them or with both of them, and just being able to be out at a park, whether it's an actual park where it's like swings and slides and everything, or again, nature trails, hikes. It's just looking back on it, it's such a treasure. And so I love the fact that, you're being in the moment and taking full advantage of that. And it would have been easy to just kind of breeze over that as just, hey, another dad and son time. But those moments really mean a lot. And I think that sounds like a really awesome place. I've never been there. I've never heard of it before. I was just pulling up some pictures on it. It looks amazing, just with some of the waterfalls like you were talking about. And so I'll have to put that on the list next time up in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I sent you guys a couple shots from us going out there from the waterfall to just some nice, cool things that him and I kind of got to experience together as we made our way towards that. I think what surprised me the most, Isaac, about it was that like we could have gone to any old playground, and like I take him to playgrounds all the time, but for him to have said that and been like Fall Run, and I hadn't thought about it. I'd been there before, but it wasn't something that I would expect him to be interested in. And I also kind of hesitate a little bit because I'm like, okay, how hurt are we going to get on this trip? Because as soon as I came back, I told Kelsey that we did it shoeless. Like I was like, oh yeah, like we didn't wear any shoes. She's like, what do you mean? Like you didn't put on something? I'm like, no. He almost fell a few times, but he didn't. And I thought it was great because I think it's usually the opposite. I'm the one who's like overthinking this stuff and definitely underthought it. We just went. I did take a backpack with me, but we just headed out.
Did you say it had like a natural water slide aspect to it?
Yeah. So if you look at I think it's like the 4 for 5th picture. There is a risk involved with this, by the way. Kids can climb up this very slippery rock formation and they can slide down. If there is enough water, you will make it down. If not, you will bump up against stuff. It was a little bit of a mix on the day we went.
It makes me think about my bachelor party, that idea where like we went up to...
When this is released, it'll be almost exactly 10 years since that bachelor party.
Was that the Ohio Pile? Yeah. So we went to like the natural water slides down in Ohio Pile, and we rode those maybe once or twice each. And it's like they were not comfortable, but it was an experience. And unfortunately, but memorably, Nate lost his wedding ring during that.
Yep.
I remember that.
It was a great time. We had like this opportunity to go camping together for my bachelor party. It was just this awesome, fun experience for all of us to get together and to be together the way we should be naturally.
Yeah, I don't know that I would recommend the natural water slides. If anybody listening has it on their bucket list, you probably want to do it once, but just know once you get in, you have to commit. There is no stopping once you get in, because it is literally a channel of water going through rocks, and it is exactly how it sounds. So, yes, very unforgiving.
Pretty fast, and it just takes you.
It can even try to tear your marriage apart.
It does take it all. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Serge, something I've been noticing a lot in my life, especially the last few months, is I'll ask my son, hey, can we go do this? Or do you want to go disc golfing with me? Like, hey, let's go for a run? Or do you want to go do this? He's like, oh, I got stuff going on with friends. Or I'll ask my daughter also. And there becomes a phase where you're not as important to your kids. And I'm like knee deep in that phase and going like, I really want to do stuff with them also because they're older so they can do so much more stuff. And I don't want to make them do things with me, but I might because I know that they'll still have a good time. But it's harder and harder to do stuff. So that's really great that you're taking advantage of that time, building that relationship, creating great memories, because eventually it's going to get harder. He's going to get busier. He's going to have other friends that he feels responsible to. And as we did, and create a good relationship. So it's not a bad thing for kids to develop that way, but it's really important to take advantage of the time when you have it.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And what's interesting is like, I think I hear stuff like that and I've heard it all my life is like, you just get deprioritized later on as a parent. You're not as important after the first 10 years. And I've definitely taken that to heart and run with that message. Like we're always doing stuff, biking, riding, going to the playground. This was a nice surprise to deviate away from the places I usually go to, which is really cool. I like when they come up with their own plan. But yeah, no lost time over here. That's for sure. So I'm going to pass it to you, Nate, because I think you've got something along the same lines in terms of a theme here, natural stuff. So tell us about your good thing.
Yeah, thanks, Serge. It's true. I was thinking that after you shared this, that I have a kind of similar best for the last month, and that is that I got to go out on my first backpacking trip of the year. Backpacking is something that I grew up thinking, oh, I really want to do that. I want to do a lot of things outdoors. and it's not really something that my family typically did or was a part of. And then luckily, I want to say maybe 8 years ago, something like that, a friend from church invited me to go backpacking with him. And I was thrilled because I'm not a very daring person. I don't take a lot of risks. I question a lot of what I'm doing and the ability to do it. And so this was an opportunity to go out and try backpacking, something I'd always wanted to do. And I fell in love with it that 8 years ago, doing this trip that we did. For anyone who knows Oregon, it was about a 21-mile trek, 2 nights. And we started up near Hoodoo and did a hike around Three-Fingered Jack, and part of that involved being on the Pacific Crest Trail then. And I just loved it. I was not well prepared for it. I tend to like camping in a hammock, and I did that, but I didn't know I needed an underpad. I didn't have stuff that was warm enough. It got down to almost freezing at night, and my toes were really cold. I didn't have a tarp. I was told, I won't need one, but then it rained on the second night, stuff like that. But I felt so good afterwards. And so being able to start that up and trying to get a couple of trips in every year is just really special to me. And this year, then it would have been a couple weeks from the time of us recording here that we went out to check out some new trails and a new area of forest that we haven't been before that's about 2 hours away from us drive. And this was a really simple one-nighter that we did where we went up, we found a little lake so that we had water access. I got to test a new camping hammock, a backpacking hammock. And then we woke up in the morning, we just hiked around this area, kind of planning maybe a longer trip, and then came home later that day. So it was a Friday night to us, kind of a Saturday evening. But it just feels so good to get out there, to be disconnected from everything, to be out on a trail, and sometimes just hiking and putting in miles to kind of zone out, and doing it with some good friends. And I have some friends that I tend to do it with. So shout out to Scott and his son Troy and Bobby that were out with me for this trip.
Yeah, I love your love for the outdoors. Like I see pictures and stuff like that on Facebook, and it's just such a great place. Like I think as you get older, you appreciate nature in such a different way. A very ridiculous question, and probably why I stay out of nature most of the time, or deep nature. Do you ever get nervous that the animals are going to eat you?
That is an excellent question, Serge, because that is something that can be an issue, and you have to take some steps to make sure that you are safe. Now, realistically, even though I think a lot of people think of Oregon as being kind of an untamed area, I think we're safer than a lot of other areas. There are some wildcats and some like mountain lions, cougars and stuff like that could be dangerous if for some reason they were acting oddly, but that's not common. Out here, commonly, they just want to stay away from you. There's some smaller bears also in my area. In fact, once we did go camping somewhere. We stayed at a lake that was in the middle of nowhere. We had to trek 5 miles in to get there, even from this dirt road that was in the middle of nowhere. And we did hear someone came around from the other side of the lake saying, hey, be careful with your food and everything like that, because this other camper bear was getting into their backpack at night. And that's the reason that so the things that might be attractive to a bear or some other animals, we put in special bags that are supposed to be airtight to keep them from smelling, and we hang them, or at least place them a little ways away from where we are sleeping to help maintain that safety. But we're generally pretty safe. We don't even have much as far as like poisonous snakes or bugs. I get bit by mosquitoes and it stinks, but it's not really dangerous.
That's fascinating. I would have thought Oregon would be the opposite. So that's neat how different the environment is. Because in Pennsylvania, you hear people talking about bears all the time, and it is not great.
Yeah, they're pretty small out here.
Nate, that just sounds awesome. Like, I would love to do it too. It seems like it would just be a great time to sort of check out from all that technology, just sort of sit around and enjoy and absorb like nature in a way. So I'm so happy you get to do this. I'm so glad you found people that like knew what they're doing and then invited you along. Just waiting for you to take us now.
I am so glad you said that. You're all invited. Now, a little bit more on that is that part of my love for this is the gear. I'll say that I love figuring out like what's the light stuff that I can use, what can I use to make me comfortable. And as a result, over the last several years, I bought different things to try different things out. I have backpacks, sleeping systems, enough for all you guys. I never sold those things. I kept on it so that I have enough that if you guys ever come out, we're set. I've got enough for at least 4 people, so that, and they might not be the perfect setup for you guys, but we could do whatever. Where then, yeah, you're focused on just being in nature, on the hike in front of you. There's not usually cell phone signals. And you guys know, every once in a while I get like an area where I'd send you a picture from somewhere where I'm like eating and with this incredible view. But you are invited.
Hey, can I ask a question about food? I'm just kind of curious, like, what do you eat? What do you bring with you? Like,
Yeah,
food and water, like, those are important things, right?
they absolutely are. And the food really isn't that difficult. I tend to bring some dehydrated meals that I rehydrate, and I have a whole lot of those, by the way, guys, all ready to go for you. And you try to get some calorie-rich nutrients and things like that, so that you don't have to worry about carrying too much as far as weight. Now, when it comes to water, you do carry a certain amount of water with you. You don't want to carry too much because it becomes burdensome, but we bring out water filters with us. And so that's part of what we were scoping out on this trip was, hey, if we do this one big loop that we were talking about doing that we've heard a little bit about, what's the water access like? And it's still worrisome. So I don't know if we'll do that big loop or not. But you filter water and you carry it. And there's a few different ways to filter the water, but that is dangerous, perhaps getting sick. Things like, I think, Giardia and some other bacteria can be out there. And sometimes, I'll tell you what, when you've hiked whatever 10 plus miles and it's hot and you're exhausted, it tastes so good no matter what it is.
Have you ever gone on a trip with like the intent of maybe fishing for some of your food or like, I don't know, hunting for stuff, capturing stuff? Is that something that happens or?
Great question. I have been with someone who was mushroom hunting and did get mushrooms and then ate some. It wasn't enough to satisfy everything that they needed. And they also woke up in the middle of the night vomiting, I'll say, although swore it was not because of the mushrooms. I have gone with people who have done a little bit of fishing. I haven't done that. Fishing license in Oregon is like not cheap if you're only going to fish once a year. I think it's like $50, but I haven't done it myself because it's just extra weight that you have to carry if you're going to do this. So if you really like fishing, it makes sense. But that's actually something that Bobby, who I went with on this trip, has done that before.
Well, Nate, I love this, and I love hearing all about your backpacking escapades, and I will confirm that you have been very open about inviting us to your backpacking trip, and so I always appreciate that. One of these times we will come out and we'll go out there with you and just have a great time because I love it. I love the connection with nature. I love the really just being out there and just enjoying creation, right? And just being a part of it. And so as you think back on all of your different backpacking trips that you've done now over the years, is there one that you would say kind of stands out as like, this was my all-time favorite outside of like maybe the first, because that was like your first experience? Is there like maybe a location or there was people that you went with, or was there like a standout time, and what was it?
So I haven't done as many. There's hikes where you go in and you hike and you set up a camp and then you do like a hike, but you pretty much stay at the same spot. The ones that I feel most satisfied after are the ones that I have done work for and been through the most discomfort, actually, right? Because then once you get to camp and you set up, it's like it just feels so good. And several years ago, I did the Timberline Trail with my pastor Marcus and his friend, it's about 42 miles, but I also had a goal to do 50 miles. So I did some side trips in the evenings after we set up camp, and I'd add on some miles. So I did 50 miles over 3 nights, 4 days and 3 nights. Although we probably could have got it done in just 2 nights. But those were some like 12 to 16 mile days of lots of up and down hill. And it goes all the way around Mount Hood, which is a pretty big mountain here in Portland. If anyone's ever flown into Portland, you can't miss it. It's big. It's where Timberline Lodge is, and that's where The Shining was filmed. So a big famous area there. But anyway, all around this huge mountain, it's really beautiful. You're out in the middle of nowhere. It connects with the Pacific Crest Trail for part of it. So you see all these PCT hikers who are doing really huge miles and get to say hi to them and get updates on how things are going. And some incredible views, just amazing.
Hey, I just want to interject a little bit because you've mentioned the Pacific Crest Trail a couple times.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who may not be familiar with it, that's the trail that's sort of featured in the book and movie The Wild, correct?
I think so. I haven't seen or read either, but I think it is. It's a trail that's walkable from the border of Mexico up to the border of Canada that goes through California and Oregon and Washington. And I don't know if it goes into Nevada at all, but I don't think it does. And so it's a huge, and some people do that entire hike over the course of several months, typically. Just incredible.
It says, I looked it up. It says Wild from Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail. She did basically an unsupported hike of over 1,000 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail in 1995
And
to
that's
like
not the
deal
entire
with
thing.
the,
I think
yeah.
the entire thing is longer than 1,000 miles. The Pacific Crest
Wow.
Trail. Yeah, yeah.
That's wild.
And some people do it in segments, including that friend Bobby who I talked about. I think he has just about finished doing all of Oregon in separate trips, which would be, I don't know, maybe 450 miles or something like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2,650 miles is what it says.
It's a long distance. That's a lot of walking.
Yeah, because what the Appalachian Trail is
That's
not that
another
long.
big one that people
Yeah.
do. Yeah. Which has got to be a similar distance. I'm not sure. And I think the other big one is the Continental Divide Trail, which is more central United States then.
That's kind of fascinating, Mac, bringing that up because like I forgot about the Wild, but like this person who was age 26 had no prior hiking experience when they went from the Mojave Desert to Washington State, and she was
Mhm.
obviously going through a lot of grief and like other things falling apart in her life. Nate, could you imagine doing that with like no experience? Is that how reasonable is that?
You would be like the hobbits starting your trip out of the Shire to Mordor and having no idea what you were stepping into. You know, hopefully there'd be some elves with lemon
It
spread to
worked
keep
for
you.
them, right?
Yeah, I think it's possible,
One would
but
hope.
that'd be crazy because there's so much planning that there's so much knowledge that I'm always getting in from like YouTube videos or from people to kind of learn about what's going on and how to be safe that I can't imagine just someone like grabbing some gear and going, I'm going to figure this out because there's so many mistakes that you can make that could be really serious or at least really uncomfortable. In general, it's not comfortable to do this, by the way. It's one of those things that like you're going to get stinky, you're going to get smelly. There's not, you got to do number 1 and number 2 out in the woods. And so if you don't know what you're doing, it's like this could be really uncomfortable. So that is crazy that she did that. Well, thanks for talking about that with me, guys. I just think it's interesting and it's so fun. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some more trips out this summer and someday doing it with you guys, either all together or even separately. But I'd love to hand the microphone over to Dr. Isaac Scott to talk about his best of the last month.
All right. Thank you, Nate. And yeah, for my best over this last month, kind of a continuation from a discussion we had at the end of last year, where I had mentioned that I had wrapped up my doctorate degree in business management with a cognate in leadership, and through a series of conversations and some great encouragement from my wife, Rachel, decided to make a trip up to Lynchburg, Virginia to Liberty University and decided to walk. And so that happened this past month. So I was able to go up there and join a lot more people than I thought was going to be there. There was probably a good 400 people in the doctoral business program that were graduating. And so I will tell you, I was very reluctant to go. Just because I was like, well, I already have my degree. I really don't see the point of spending the time and money to travel up there. And once I got there and was a part of everything, it was just amazing to be a part of that, right? It's like you're a part of this group, this club, and surrounded by people from various different backgrounds, but all there, getting to go around, walk up on stage, and have the dean of the business school shake your hand and say, "Congratulations, doctor," right? And it's just like just a really surreal feeling to get that, see that accomplishment and really see it kind of played out on a big stage. So again, very thankful to my wife, Rachel, because I was definitely dragging my feet and was back and forth on it, but she was very encouraging about it. And I'm really glad that I did. And so Rachel came with me. Lydia came up as well because Liberty is actually a school that she is interested in playing volleyball for. And so she got to kind of check out the campus there as well. Which it's just a beautiful campus in the mountains of Virginia. And my dad, Matox, drove down from Pittsburgh, and so he was there for it also. So just a fun little family gathering. Isaiah would have been there, but he also had his girlfriend coming down. She was starting an internship, and he was kind of her ride, so he was kind of on the hook to make sure she was taken care of. Otherwise, he would have been there as well. But just really, just a cool event. When I thought about my best, that was the thing that really, jumped out to me is it was a little surreal because I think at first, once finished it up, got the degree, and it was like, okay, great, that's done. But then to actually walk across the stage and it be official and finalized, it was like, this is pretty awesome. So that was really my best. So kind of short and sweet, but it was just a really awesome experience.
I'm really happy she convinced you to go to celebrate your accomplishment. One of the things that I think all of us do, and a lot of people do in general, is sort of take accomplishments with humility and don't provide them the air to breathe and to be celebrated. So that you did this amazing thing and took, that time to go and celebrate, to get to walk, do all that is really awesome. So I'm really happy you did that. I'm really happy she talked you into it because you did hard work and that should be celebrated.
Yeah, it was a good kind of capstone because I can't remember if I mentioned this or not in our previous episode, but I started my education journey a little non-traditional, right? I started off working at Frito-Lay first and then went back and got my degrees. And I started with my associate's degree when Isaiah was 2. So he just turned 20 back in May. So basically, this has been like an 18-year educational journey. Obviously, not straight through, on and off, but on and off for 18 years. So that was it. I think that was also probably some of the emotion about it, where it's like almost like a deep breath of just relief that it's like, this is it. I've gotten to the top of what I wanted to accomplish. So yeah, it was neat.
Yeah, your commitment and passion are just unmatched. I honestly can't think of anyone else in my personal life that's like as committed as you are, Isaac, on looking at something and saying, I'm gonna get up there and then doing it. And I think like every single time you've accomplished that, all of us are blown away and so proud of you. And I agree with Mac. I think taking the time to just say, okay, this is gonna cost me, I don't have to travel, but like letting people celebrate you, right? Like in that moment of you walking down and getting your diploma and shaking hand and like being proud. It's like a short moment, but it's also an opportunity for others to be excited about something that you've done and the work that you've put in and the work that they've put into you, whatever that might be to help you. It's just it's important, I think. It's like those types of ceremonies that help bring closure to all of us when it comes to good things and bad things. And obviously, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I can't wait to see, I think the people that you're going to influence, Isaac, through having this degree and, at some point, if you end up teaching, but just even now, I know that at work and other places that, although we might not talk about it, that you're influencing people and helping them to get to where they want to be and showing them a path that can help them to, take their families to the next level. So I'm just really proud of you. I don't have anything else to say.
I appreciate that, Serge. And yeah, it's a true passion of mine is to be able to help other individuals to grow and develop, right? And so that's actually one thing I'm starting to support the Liberty University doctoral program with now that I have this degree, because I'm like, hey, I want to be able to put this into practice. And so I'm actually helping doctoral chair some candidates to basically helping them walk through the same process that I just got done walking through. So being able to kind of, pay it forward a little bit more. So it's an incredible journey. It's an incredible journey.
Yeah, I love it. I think I've told you before that I brag on you to other people, and you just got such an awesome story. And just reaching this doctorate level of education is so cool. I think one of the most important things to talk about when it comes to graduation and walking and things like that, because frankly, if I look back on any graduation I've had, high school, college, master's degree, all of them, I go like, man, that was kind of felt to me like a waste of time and sitting in a hot room and seeing all these other people who I don't know finish things. I'm just like, I don't quite know what I got out of that. But what you didn't mention, sir, is just how crazy the hoods and uniforms are when you are a doctorate level graduate. And so can you speak to that a little bit about what you wore?
I don't even know that I could put it into words, but it was a very elaborate doctoral gown, hood, and I forget what they call that hat. It's like a tab.
Mortarboard?
Tam. It's a tam. It's like a little. No, I think they call it a tam.
It's a different one. Okay.
Yeah, but it's I don't even know how to describe it, but it's more like a hat than a four corner square. So it is.
That's right.
It was a lot of gear, a lot of velvet, and very hot, but it definitely made me. I think Lydia mentioned multiple times. It looked like I was a character from Harry Potter. So it's like those kind of robes.
It is. It's this thing that like if you're not in the world of academia, maybe even if you are, like you can look at it and you go like that seems kind of silly, but there's a tradition to it. Like every school and university that has master's the levels that you'll get this hood, but then the doctorate level, it's just like crazy. And I think it's cool. Like I dig it. It go like you earn this kind of like little craziness brotherhood thing that you're a part of that's special. And once again, like very few people reach that level and get to have that. And if you ever go back, then I guess because say you're a doctorate level and you go to other people's graduations, you put that stuff on again. So
Yeah.
You never have to go back to the normal cap and gown that the plebeians wear, right? The people who just
true.
get their bachelor's degrees. They're nothing compared to the accoutrement that you get to wear.
That's right. And
Isaac,
it's funny. It's funny that you say that. Yeah, that's a great picture, Serge. I think
Just to be
you
clear, we have footage of Isaac at his graduation party wearing this new gown. It's you can see it there, fellas. Can you see it?
that,
We
that's
see,
that's my other those are my other robes when I'm
For the
We're
list-
working on
graduated
trying to
from the
get the image
Jedi
up.
Academy.
for the listener,
Yeah.
Serge has utilized UI to put Isaac, a very handsome Isaac, also in Jedi robes, shaking hands with everyone.
Yeah, but Nate, I was going to comment on the hooding part because that was something I forgot to mention. But that was actually something I guess I just didn't realize that was part of the whole ceremony. Is that so? There's actually a hood, a doctoral hood that you get, and you don't wear it. You bring it up on stage, and then other doctors actually hood you, and that's part of the
Yeah.
that's part of the whole tradition part. And I actually just looked it up, and it actually goes back into like the 12th century.
Yeah.
Where early scholars wore long robes and hoods, and then over time, they evolved into what we have today. But it was this tradition of like placing the hood, and it's like another doctor is basically welcoming you into the doctoral ranks.
Which is neat. And I think my master's level did that too. And the hood is really almost like a sash type of thing.
Mhm.
But we did that. So did you walk for your master's degree?
It did not.
Yeah, I
I
think
didn't
you
walk for any of
would-
my other ones. Yeah.
I think you would have been hooded for that as well. But if I remember correctly, the hoods at the master's level are much simpler and not as elaborate. Maybe even just a plain single color.
It was very elaborate.
Yes.
I put it right up there with the design of like a wedding dress. There's a lot of parts and pieces to it.
That's great.
Well, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me talk a little bit about that and brag a little bit about it. Like I said, it's just something I'm definitely proud of, but I think Sergi nailed it, that it's like, society, it's almost like you don't want to brag too much because then, people kind of give you a side-eye look that you're, being a little arrogant. But it's definitely, there's nothing wrong with taking pride in your accomplishments and working hard and seeing the results pay off. So that's a life lesson more so for my kids who are tuning and listening to this, and for anybody else who's listening, is that it's always good to take pride in your hard work when it pays off. All right. Well, and just like that, we are done with this 9th episode of our 4 Best podcasts. And so as we kind of wind this thing down, I want to thank all of you for tuning in and hope you really enjoyed the content that we discussed throughout this episode. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so that way it will notify you anytime a new episode is being released. And as a reminder, we are the 4 Best, and so we have chosen to release our episodes on the 4th of every month at 4:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can look forward to our next episode coming out next month on August 4th. And so you'll also see various different social media posts, Facebook, Instagram, as well as if you're out on X, you can follow us at 4BestPod. And we are out there on the X. And so for now, though, we are going to call this a wrap, and we will see you all next time on the 4 Best Podcasts.
Bye, everyone.
everybody.
All right, see you guys.
thanks
Bye.
everyone.
For 4 friends, and Mac will leave your voicemail for you. Can we start offering that? Isn't there like a thing on NPR where like if you win, the one guy will like record
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
voicemail for you?
Wait, don't tell me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like it. You know what?
All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that episode of the 4 Best podcast. And I'm coming to you with a exciting update on a change we're going to be making to our episode release. And so instead of releasing one full episode where we cover all 4 of our bests in almost an hour-long episode once a month, we've decided that we're actually going to be releasing these episodes each week. So we are going to take the 4 bests and break them up into 4 equal sections. So we will be releasing one of the bests every week. And we're going to be releasing them on Wednesday, which is the 4th day of the week. And we will be releasing them at 4:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the hope is we'll get more frequent updates out, but they'll be more bite size and maybe a smaller time commitment to listening to the different episodes. And then on the months where we have a 5th Wednesday, we'll be bringing to you a special 4 Best episode where we cover different and special topics. So the hope is that this will kind of change and increase or make it a little easier to listen to the new episodes when they are coming out. So we will start this next month with our August 5th release, and we will look forward to seeing you then. Until next time on the Four Best Podcast.
For best friends since way back when.